Well, hey guys, this is DR Drake 63. I want to thank you for joining me today. What you see before you are a couple AR builds. When I say builds, I use that term loosely. We've seen quite a bit on this. Mostly spikes with some BCM components right here, which is, got the fixed front sight, more of your traditional older school type of non-free float look with the delta ring that you see right here. It's topped with a Trigicon ACOG, and it's a very nice rifle, without a doubt. This polymer handguard is from BCM, and as always, my dog has something to say as soon as I start making a video, so we'll just leave her in there, not edit her out. But this was not a complete build. I bought the upper already assembled by Spikes, and I wanted something where I was going to go ahead and make my next build a 100%. In terms of looking at it, here you go. I'm going to talk a little bit today about assembling this barreled upper from pretty much scratch, starting out with an upper receiver. We've got a barrel from Ballistic Advantage. It's guaranteed to be one MOA, and we'll find out about that when we get out to 100 yards. Today we're only going to test it indoors at about 25. But trying out a new company for the handguard. This is a LUTH-AR, or LUTH-AR. They're out of Minnesota, my home state, and I really like the palm swell aspect of it. So we're gonna check that out. But as far as components, a little bit of everything, and but the internals are what matters the most. And what matters the most is going to be, of course, your barrel, quality barrel. Do you have a quality bolt carrier group? I don't think anybody's going to argue about Spikes unless they're a brain damaged brand boy. Daniel Defense, open sights, and just good stuff throughout. So some Magpul furniture as well. But we're gonna talk about this in detail, putting together this upper. I'm not gonna show you every step. I've got a few things I'm gonna show you, but I'm gonna try to keep this video a little bit shorter, and we'll include some results of function check and shooting at the end. Just want to go ahead and say that what you're looking at right here in front of you is a very nice quality rifle. It's got all the stuff you want. Properly staked castle nut, which I did myself, so I know it was properly done. Gas system, everything. A lot of care went into this, probably a lot more than any factory's going to do, because they just don't have the time that I do to care about my rifle as much as I do. So this whole outfit you see before you cost about $700, give or take. And I want to compare that. You've seen on this table before BCM Recce 14 complete overview, and I was telling you about a year ago how it was in danger of becoming my favorite rifle. And I'm going to tell you right now, these guys right here, these are both builds for around the 700-ish category. They hold their own against a BCM or any other brand out there, and I wouldn't have any problem, because I know the guy that put them together. I know what the quality check has been. What you see before you are a lot of pieces, a lot of boxes, a lot of different stuff. And what I'm doing today is gonna put together pretty much from the ground up a brand new AR. And I'm not gonna show you how to put together the lower. We've got a video on that. Today we're gonna talk about building an upper from basic components, and I gave a brief overview of this. This is a BCM upper. This particular one came with the forward assist mechanism and the dust cover already installed, but those are a couple relatively easy jobs. You see I've got a lower parts kit from Palmetto State Armory there. I selected this particular handguard. Saw this at a gun show. This is made by a company in Minnesota near where I live, LUTH-AR, LUTH-AR. And I just really liked it. It's palm swell type of handguard. What's nice about this one is the gas tube runs right up in there. You don't have to, the way this attaches to the barrel, you don't have to worry about lining it up in terms of the barrel nut in that kind of scenario, which is always nice. Some other things, this is a barrel from Ballistic Advantage, and I got a real nice price on this from Joe Bob's. This is 4150 chromalloy vanadium. It is not chrome lined like so many of the barrels I've used before. I don't think that's a big deal at all, the way that it's finished inside and out. You can see that I've got a gas tube. You can see that I've got, also from LUTH-AR, I've got a gas block. It's 3/4 of an inch. Here's your barrel nut. Also from Joe Bob's, a big fan of these spikes bolt carrier groups. I've used them in a number of ARs that I put together before. I just really like them. I think they're a real good price, and I think they do exactly what you need them to do. I don't know why I bought another flash hider. I've got like 2 of them I found in my workbench area, but we have one. We have the crush washer that you need. We have the charging handle. So basically everything you need to do to put together an upper. Now, what's kind of interesting right here, this is a product that is a vise brace. So this goes into your vise. You drop this guy in here just like that. That closes down on it. And then you stick that in your vise, and that comes in handy for threading the barrel. That or your barrel nut on. That comes in handy for a lot of things with gas tube installation, and it's not going to mar up your upper. So just like we have this vise block we use for the lower, for about 21 bucks you can get these. I think I paid a little bit more because somebody had it in stock, and it works for a specific purpose. Now this was from Wheeler, and you'll see it also comes with a gas tube alignment tool. As we're doing this, you know, we're not using a torque wrench, and it's recommended. The spec on this particular barrel nut and this handguard and so forth is between 30 and 80 foot-pounds, and there's some controversy about that. You might hear from some people that say, "Hey, man, you're going to screw it up just doing it by hand." In terms of talking to a guy I know who's been both a military and a civilian armor, built a lot of ARs, he basically recommended, hey, do a 1/4 turn past hand tight and you'll be good. One of the things we want to make sure is that we use some moly grease on the threads. We also want to use it on this portion to help ease it in, and we'll be using some of that on the threads here when we install our muzzle device. So take some pictures along the way and talk about a few things. But I found from doing the complete lower build that it really was a pain in the ass to videotape it. And there's so many good instructional videos on how to do this. I thought I'd just give you an overview of the parts that I'm using and show you some steps along the way as we put together this upper. So stay tuned. One thing I want to point out, you can get to where you have a really tight fit on this barrel. I wasn't able to push this in by hand, so I got it as far as I could, being careful to line up where this particular piece goes into the notch, okay, on the barrel. And then what you want to do is hold on to the barrel and actually tap the back of the receiver with a rubber mallet, like we have right here. So you don't want to bang on the barrel. Hold on to the barrel by hand and lightly tap on this, and it'll fit in. It should be a tight fit. I also mentioned coating this with moly grease, and here's our moly grease right here. You can get a big old tube of this, more than you'll need in a lifetime, for about $6. I like to use like a little swab or something like that to apply it to the threads, and we'll just go all the way around. Don't need to get too crazy with it. Okay, so as you can see, this has a very nice finish on this barrel. We like it. I've heard very good things about Ballistic Advantage, Faxon barrels, some of these other guys that do a great job. So we've got this securely on. We don't have to worry about, like I said, lining up the hole into the receiver for the gas tube. We don't have to worry about that just because of this particular design. And now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to install this gas block, and that's right here. And that installs with a couple of these hex screws that we can look at possibly staking. I think I'm going to start out with some red Loctite on these and see how it goes. But basically, here's your gas. Here's your hole for your gas tube. So kind of tells you what needs to happen here. Here's the hole on the bottom that runs the length. So that's going to need to match up right here. So go in perfectly that way. And then the way you do that, if you look right here, you'll see this hole right here. And that is to take a pin, a roll pin, and run that through there, and that should set you up the way you need to be. So we're going to actually install it into the gas block and then slide the gas block on. I want to show you something else that's nice, and this came with this vise, and this is to line up your gas tube. So you've got this piece, okay, that you see slides right into the back, okay, and then if you look at the front, when I protrude this out, this piece comes out, okay. So here I've got my pinned gas tube, okay, and now it's a matter of lining this up, and you push this back, up a little bit of grease on the sides, okay. So with a little bit of back pressure on this, I know that I'm going to have the gas tube lined up. Now, is it 100% perfect? Pretty close. I mean, we'd have a working firearm, no problems, as is. But just a nice little handy tool. It's kind of a guide. So we finished off this barrel with crush washer installation. It's a handy tool for ARs as far as using for different aspects of it. Doesn't do everything, but this is nice for doing that. So we put the crush washer on, a little bit of grease on the thread. Now what you want to make sure with these flash hiders, you have 5 total going across the top and nothing on the bottom. So you want the middle one to be lined up in such a way that you line up with your gas block and the top of the receiver, and we've done that. Okay, well, no upper is complete without putting on my favorite fixed iron sights, these Daniel Defense. They're certainly not backup sights. Some people call them that. You know, do we want to throw an ACOG on top of this and check it for accuracy? Yeah, when we can shoot it outside, we will. But basically, nice looking carbine length upper. I went with the carbine length this time, just because I'm kind of tired of mid-length. But as you can see, this is a nice situation. I will be putting some kind of forward hand device on here, and more than likely it'll be something from Bravo Company. But you can see it's key mod, and you know there's more accessories available for M-LOK than key lock or than key mod. I think the key mod locks up better, and I have a bunch of key mod stuff. I also can keep an eye on these on this gas block right here, and you know, we're probably going to go ahead at some point and stake this, but like I said, wanted to make sure that everything was doing what it was supposed to first. So hats off to this LUTH-AR LUTH-AR handguard. I really like it. It slips on there real easy. Makes gas block installation real simple, and so we're looking forward to this. And as always, I like the Spikes bolt carrier groups, BCMs, Daniel Defense, Toolcraft. I know a lot of guys swear by the Son of Liberty Gunworks stuff, but nice carbine upper. So we're going to build the lower. we'll show you the finished product. So we're going to take our very first shots with this particular rifle here today. And for starters, just going to start standing. Just want to make sure we've got decent function check and see if it does what it's supposed to. I've got a target out there at 25 yards, and we're seeing where we're going to place a 5-shot group. Again, this is standing, stiff trigger, the whole 9 yards. And actually, for first shot standing, not too bad. You can see all 5 of them here. Obviously, like the bullseye the best, although I do want to be about 1.5 inches high at 25 meters. So decided to come back now, and we're going to shoot off a block where we're going to get a more accurate result. And we're using some 55-year-old eyes here, guys. Shooting iron sights in a dark environment. So I'm not making excuses, but I'm saying probably could be a better test of the accuracy of this rifle if I were using a magnified optic. But for today, we decided to do it this way and seeing what kind of results we could get at that distance. And I have to say that a pretty decent group there for what we're doing. And we're off to the right, had to make some adjustments. And basically it's dialed in now. And of course, what firearms function of an AR is complete without rapid fire? That's just got to happen. Just a couple comments about this firearm. It's really lightweight, and I built it lightweight on purpose. I wanted a lightweight AR, something that would be just real easy to carry around if need be. Coyote hunting, whatever, slap an optic on here. We might try it out with the ACOG when we get a little bit of longer distance opportunities outside. But I wanted something that was really easy to handle, something super lightweight, and this sure is. And that includes this minimalist stock for Magpul, which I like quite a bit. You've got, this is pretty much how I like to grip it right here. I don't grab it like that, but I like to grip it just about like this. So this is good for me. And then also sometimes if I'm really honing in on a target a long way away, I tend to like to hold it close to the magazine well, and that just gives me a steadier platform. So that's what's so nice about this Palm Swell handguard from LUTH-AR. And I got it at a gun show. I think normally you can get them online for about $79–80. And they do, yes, they do make a longer version, a 15-inch version. 2 things. I think that looks getting kind of cliche. And I know now that guys are going away from that kind of 4-gun long rail and now trying to build copies of the MK12 and things of that nature. And this is a follow the leader kind of hobby, that's for sure. But for me, I wanted to build this as lightweight as possible. You see that on the profile on this barrel. I didn't get the heaviest barrel. I got a shorter handguard, and just pretty much throughout, it's a lightweight kind of affair, and I like it that way. I want to leave you today with this thought: if you're gonna invest in parts and put together ARs, which are not cheap even when you use cheap parts, you might as well make sure you're investing in the right tools while you're at it. And some stuff you're going to need, and this is by no means exhaustive, you're going to obviously need a vise. This little plastic block here is meant for holding your lower. We talked today about this upper vise, which is so helpful in terms of everything having to do with installing your barrel, gas tube, so forth. Handguard. You're going to need grease. You're going to need stuff like a hammer that has plastic and or rubber on it for when you need to beat on stuff that you don't want to mar it with. You're going to need pliers to hold detents. This is my trick for getting the takedown pin detents in and out, holding them into place. Hammer for driving your punches. So I've got various center punches. You can get a set of these without spending a ton of dough. Here's here's a punch that is used for when we're staking the castle nut, things like that. You got some Loctite there. You've got a crescent wrench. You don't want to use a wrench that has, if you're tightening barrels or muzzle devices, you don't want to have a wrench that has any kind of grip texture on it. Otherwise, you're going to mar your stuff. But you can just kind of get an idea of the kind of stuff that you can assemble to help you do a good job when you're putting these together. And then you can put together something that looks like this, that isn't marked up or scratched from tool marks. And I'd say that this is a pretty decent job. Very pleased with this firearm, and appreciate you watching today. I hope that you've enjoyed it, and we'll continue to show you as we build different stuff that we do. But I never get tired of this. I've been building for a number of years, and it's just fun stuff, guys. This is Dr. Drake 63 saying thanks for watching. Appreciate it.